Welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio. I'm your host, Deborah Bailey. And when I started this show in 2008, I was on a mission to promote women-owned businesses and help women succeed by providing resources and valuable tips from other women and men, small business owners. In each interview, my guests speak openly about their triumphs, the scary times, and tough decisions they have to make along the way. Women Entrepreneurs Radio is about showing women how to harness their natural strengths to achieve success on their own terms. Okay, everyone, welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your host, Deborah Bailey. I'm really glad that you could be here today. And if you want to learn more about the show, more about me, you can come to deboraabailey.com and check out the information and books and things that I have going on. Also, there's links there for you to go to the blog for the show, womenentrepreneursecrets.com, and learn more about the show as well, especially if you'd like to be a guest. That's a good place for you to go to get more information. So I'm going to introduce my guest today. Tara Middleton is a leader whose mission is to empower women spiritually, academically, and financially. Her desire to fulfill her purpose has afforded her the opportunity to become an author, motivational speaker, blogger, and a former columnist of Ask Tara in On Point magazine. Tara is currently preparing for the publishing of her first book. In addition to being an author, she is founder and CEO of Rare Rubies. Under the umbrella of Rare Rubies, among other functions, Tara is a leadership consultant and life coach for women of all ages. So welcome, Tara. I'm really glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Deb.
So, it sounds like you have a lot going on, but if you could just share with us, how did you get started on this journey?
Okay, sure. So around about 4 years ago, I was at work one day and I was running to some meetings, and I ended up falling down the stairs at work. When I was down the stairs, I could not feel my legs. They went totally numb, and I had some of the nurses from the med review team that worked with me, and they took me back into the office and they checked me out. I ended up going to the doctor just for a report to see what was going on, to make sure that, there wasn't going to be no workman's comp case, of course. And so after 5 minutes of seeing the doctor, he walked in and he said, you have a brain tumor.
Oh, my goodness.
So it immediately, for the first 6 months, I was still, I did everything I could possibly do to still work. While going through this diagnosis, it was a very rare case. They've never seen anything else like it. I could not do chemo. I couldn't do radiation. And they told me it was inoperable, that I would either die on the table or be permanently paralyzed. Had went through with the, with the operation. And of course, there was no one. They did several brain tumor conferences, and there was no one that would actually even attempt the surgery. So my oncologist, I was in the office talking to him one day, and he was like, you're not going to be able to work ever again. And of course, that's my livelihood. I want to work. I want to be doing stuff. And so he was like, no, you're not going to be able to work. So he told me, you're not, so he made me quit my job. He made me quit everything. I wasn't able to work. And so as I was home going through some of the treatments that I was going through for the brain tumor, I had on my vision wall, I had what I call a vision wall. So, I know we all familiar with the vision boards. I had a vision wall on the back that I always have, no matter where I live, in the back of my closet. And so on there, I had an idea that God had given me to start an organization to help women. And so while I was, home, that's really how it actually got started. It took, really me, going through this life challenge to really say, okay, am I really doing the thing that I know that I'm supposed to be doing? Am I doing what I've been created to do, that I've been called to do? I would have been working a job, and I loved what I was doing, but it lacked some of the passion because I knew it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. And kind of my health challenge kind of forced me into jumping out into entrepreneurship. It's been a challenge. It's been a journey, but I appreciate everything that has happened and how it happened. Because had I not fallen down the stairs I worked that day, I wouldn't have not known what was going on with me. Health, because I had been having some challenges at home. Like my legs would go numb, but I didn't know what it was for. I was in a bad car accident, prior to. And I had started when I was in college. I had started ministry. It was like a young women's ministry on my college campus with my co-leader Jennifer, and we had really branched off with doing this. It's called Sister to Sister, and we did it from another young lady, Tamara, who was her idea, and so that we were really, just putting forth a vision that she had, and so it kind of really gave me my start of when I knew that this is what I was called to do and what I was passionate about was helping women discover their purpose and how to use those gifts and talents to maximize their potential so that they can be successful in whatever area, that they're passionate about and that they were gifted in, and how to develop those gifts and how to create it into even a business and doing consulting.
So how are you doing now?
I am, I'm grateful. They gave me less than 3 months to live, but it's been almost a year and a half since then. So I still have some health challenges, of course, but I don't, let that stop me from, continuing doing what I love to do. It was, even that door of how everything happened opened up a lot of other doors for me to be able to, do entrepreneurship. And I have so many other things that we're working on that, we're waiting to launch. And so.
Pretty incredible that you've come through that, and been able to kind of prove everyone wrong who was telling you something else was going to happen. So that's very powerful.
Yeah, and that, that's kind of what happened, in entrepreneurship and business. Having to step out no matter who's around you, who's not supporting the vision that you have. Because a lot of people didn't think that Rare Rubies was going to work. I didn't get, the full support that, that you always think that you're supposed to. But at the end, it's kind of helpful because it helps you to realize it doesn't really matter what people around you or anyone else supports you. It's you doing what it is that that you're supposed to do, and that's really how I measure success. Am I accomplishing my purpose and the very thing that I've been created to do?
So, do you want to share a little bit about what Rare Rubies is about and what some of the many things that you're doing?
So, Rare Rubies really is about helping, people discover their purpose, discover, really answering the questions, who am I, what I want out of life, and how do I achieve it? So we do life coaching, so no matter where you are in life, whether you're married, single, divorced, or transitioning in many different areas in your life, so a lot of times we don't realize, sometimes people need motivation to help them achieve, some of their goals. Even after they know what their purpose is, they might be in a place where they know their purpose, but they just need the motivation and some steps to help them to follow through to actually achieve what they're trying to accomplish. So we do also leadership consulting through businesses, organizations, even for churches or corporations, for helping leaders become more strategic, whatever capacity that may be. And motivationals, we do of course, I do motivational speaking So I have been afforded the opportunity to go to, even into some businesses to motivate, maybe like a business, whatever business or whatever team that this leader may bring in that says, my team needs motivation, or we're starting even for some school districts or some schools in the beginning, so some to help motivate some of the teachers, or through, do when the health, of course, with health and dealing with cancer, being able to use motivational speaking in those areas as well, and counseling, relationship counseling is one of the things that's offered, or family, whatever, area that may be. And so we have several different chapters of Rare Rubies, and that's like on the nonprofit side of Rare Rubies, where it's really based upon teaching the Word of God and principles and biblical principles that will help them to just be the best version of themselves. And so we're actually, starting some other chapters outside the U.S. We're going into Africa, to Johannesburg and Nigeria, and hopefully going to get started in the Bahamas as well. So,
are there any recommendations you can share as far as how to bring people together and create a community like what you're doing?
I think the first recommendation I would have is to be clear on your purpose. Be clear on your goal. Because if you're not clear on your purpose or your goal that you're trying to accomplish, it's hard to get everyone else on board to figure out where you need help to come into if your goal or your purpose isn't very clear. And how to really, and making sure that you can communicate that purpose and that goal and that vision one on your team. I came up with, and faced that challenge myself. I knew what my purpose was. I knew what the goal of Rare Rubies was. And so it also taught me in the beginning of, okay, I need to learn how to communicate, that vision. How do you communicate that vision to make sure that everyone understands, what you need to, to happen to get done? Because if you're trying to promote your organization like that and you don't know what your purpose is, and you're like, okay, I just want to help women. Okay, help women do what? Because most of that starts where people wanting to help, but once you find out what that assignment is and what is your clear goal, like, what do I want people to get from this? And I think like that's one of the biggest challenges is really making sure that you can communicate that purpose and that to everyone else. And also time management. Make sure that you're taking the advantage of most of your time with these kind of organizations, because you have a lot of women. You have a lot of these organizations right now, and so trying to and not allowing yourself to be discouraged when you're not seeing things manifest or come to fruition when you want them to. Because it is, especially with this kind of organization, it takes time, and you don't want. It's easy to become discouraged if you don't see happening sometimes, or frustration to taking place when you're not seeing what you want to see when you think it's supposed to be done, and trusting and knowing that ultimately there's a plan, there's a purpose in place, and you just have to do the preparation. And whenever, and no matter what, and not really set out to do this to really having the heart to do it. I'll say that too. Making sure that you have the heart to do it. Because if you don't have the heart for this kind of organization or, service, then it's not going to be very easy to stay with it. Because the moment that you see people are not on board, you're going to want to walk away. But that's your heart. It doesn't matter. I could do this every day and don't matter if one person doesn't help me. Or I don't have the help, because that's what I love it so much. And I go to bed late every night coming up with new ideas for Rare Rubies and everything. So, so I would say that would be some of the challenges, and making sure that it really starts with you being comfortable with you. Because then it won't matter what everyone else may not be on board or may not understand your vision, and knowing that your vision and your purpose first, if for your business or whatever business it may be, is you have to, you know, that vision. It was given to you. And knowing that everyone around you may not have the heart for it like you do, because it's like a baby.
Yes.
You're birthing this. This baby means more. That's your baby. So you can't expect everyone to want to take care of your baby the same way that you would.
That's true, because you really are protective of it, because you created this and you have your vision, and then you really want to nurture it and make sure that everything kind of grows in a way that you have a vision for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that even comes into play, like at first. One of the things that, and I had to, realize, that as well, like, okay, everyone may not, be, seen as passionate as you are about this. This is your baby. This is what you what was birthed through you. So you can't, and making sure, because you want to make sure, and you are protective.
Yes.
And you want to make sure that even the next person, I know, like, we had like an event before, and one of the challenges that I had was, at first I did, like, because I had other people helping me, I didn't want to step on anyone's toes. I didn't want to seem like I was being too picky or being, but ultimately, it's my name that's on it. It's the idea that God's given me, and God was, you have to protect that. You have to be protective.
Right.
So you have to and if you don't stay on top of it, you have to make sure that that purpose and that vision is being carried out. If it stays away from that, then it becomes something else that you didn't, intend for it to take place. And a lot of times I'll have people, well, you should do this, and you should do that. You should start doing this.
Yeah.
And you take, we always are learning, and you always listen to welcome ideas, from other people, because you can't do it by yourself, and especially something like this. So you have to always have your spirit and be open to receive from others. But at the same time, you also, if you're not clear on that purpose, if you're not clear, and I feel like the theme of this interview today has been about purpose and vision. If you're not clear on that vision, you will deter from it, and you will make a pit stop. You might make a pit stop sometimes from off of it, but it's about staying in the path and staying the course, and doing an alternate route because someone else thinks that this may be something better for you. Even something that you touched on about people, maybe they know what they want, because even with me, like even with Rare Rubies, I found that like I've, made, like I would want to make sure I wanted to help people, but because I had a lot of men that came to me, for help through Rare Rubies as well. And making sure, but I still stay with a purpose. And I was like, okay, well, if there's men that are coming that need help too, like I'm not gonna not help them, so and trying to do something to involve more men, because I actually have almost more men, that came to help than more women that have been helped as well. And so, but one of the things that you said about the women, people not knowing their intent or having the purpose is just wanting to help. Don't be afraid of helping someone else with their vision. Because even before, like I told you, like when I was in college, that wasn't, sister to sister wasn't my vision. It was, of the woman Tamara who started Sister to Sister, and I thank God for using her to start, to start it. And so Jennifer and I, which is, we planted a chapter of her vision for Sister to Sister on our college campus, and we were, chosen to lead it. Thank God that for the opportunity, and so we got to serve someone else's vision, and. Right. So many times people are afraid to help. We have women, especially women, but we have to feel like we're competing against each other. you're competitive, and the only person with competition is that you should compete with yourself. Can I be the best version of me? And to do more with me, I'm gonna do better than what I did the last time, and not try to compete with other women. We should help, each other and band with each other, and not be afraid to support your vision because we may have a similar, group of similar purpose. Because I realize even in that, the people that are ultimately destined for me to be able to reach and that would hear my voice are going to come. The people, we have 8 billion people in this world. There's plenty of people for each organization and each business. We don't have to compete against each other. We can compete with ourselves. You just be the best version of you. How can I be greater? How can I do something and be more effective? But not how can I be this organization that's similar to mine, or this other person to the left, because we don't, if you support someone else's vision, and even, a scripture in Luke 12:48, it says, he who serves another man's vision, you have your own. And it's all about serving. And if you have the heart, if I have the heart to help you with your vision, you're not losing anything.
Right.
And so many times people feel like they're losing instead of gaining. Well, if I'm helping you with your vision, how is mine being started? It's kind of like a seed. When a seed goes into the ground, it dies first before it starts to grow. So even though if you're helping somebody else's vision, it may look like your vision is dying, but it's not. That's just soil to help your vision to come to pass and to grow and expand. Helping you with I found like even helping, even for me personally, going through and serving this other person's vision, I realized what my purpose was through that. I was able to have, develop more of my gifting and talents, and I was thrown into, things with even other organizations that I helped serve. There was another college, another ministry that I was helping with called Salt of the Earth, and I really learned how to do conferences and how to plan a conference through that. I didn't know, but it was the demand was placed on me, and then I had to rise to the occasion to make sure that would come to pass.
Right.
So it's the same thing, like when I tell women, make sure that you are. How can I? If I don't know what my purpose is yet, if I don't know what my intention of how I want to help find somebody else with a similar purpose of what you may want to do, and help them with the vision, because we have so many people that have this thing and that thing, but what if we just all come together to band together to get something across? Because Rare Rubies is not about Tara. I want to be able to help more people as I can possibly help, and even with that, I realized you have to be open to having other people help and learning to ask for help so that you can accomplish a greater purpose. It's not about you.
Right.
Exactly.
So what we're going to do is take a very quick break, and we will return to continue our conversation with Tara Middleton.
Hi, this is Deborah. Not only am I host of Women Entrepreneurs Radio, but I'm also a writer and coach. I've learned that making professional changes calls for a change in mindset, and that's not always easy to do. In my book, Think Like an Entrepreneur, Transforming Your Career and Taking Charge of Your Life, you'll learn the 5 steps to thinking like an entrepreneur so that you can move from idea to action. You'll also get information on how to manage fear of failure and how to banish self-doubt. And you'll receive lots of motivation to pick you up and point you in the right direction when you're facing the emotional and mental challenges that come with making life changes. In fact, one reviewer said, the book gave me ideas to match with my own feelings. This book is clear, straightforward. All tips are really good and easy to apply. I couldn't agree more. So get your copy today of Think Like an Entrepreneur, Transforming Your Career and Taking Charge of Your Life. It's available in print, ebook, and audiobook on Amazon.com.
Okay, everyone, we're back with Women Entrepreneurs Radio and with my guest, Tara Middleton. And she is the founder and CEO of Rare Rubies. And we've been talking about building communities and people helping people and really having an intention and a vision. So I think these are wonderful things for you to hear, even if you already are in business and you're just kind of looking for ways to grow what you have, or you're looking to start something. There's a lot here for you to learn from. So Tara, you're also working on a book. What will that be about?
Yes, I'm excited about this book. This is the first book. It's really going to be about, it's almost like a memoir.
Uh-huh.
It's going to really cover some of the experience that I had, and challenge. But the real purpose of that I want people to get out of this book is, that they can really overcome any obstacle or life challenge and still be able to maximize their life throughout what you're going through your obstacle, and really even dealing with a terminal illness. And it doesn't matter whether you went through a terminal illness, but it's a lot of things that encounter, like financial issues and relationships that that were affected, physical, or even learning how not to be independent. Be so independent. And one of the hardest people, the strongest, women have problems or hard time asking for help, or feeling, or even when you go through obstacles and you're fighting these challenges, oftentimes, you get battle weary. And how do I deal with that? How do I overcome what I'm feeling so that I can still be successful? And a lot of different things that I went through, as well as had a mother who was terminally ill, who had lung cancer, and I was the only child, and being a caretaker, of my mom, and having that challenge, losing someone close to you, and how to still be there, for others, even through the midst of your own journey.
Okay, Tara, why don't you share with us where people can find you online?
On my website is www.IamARareRuby.com. My Twitter handle is at Tara, Tara Shacole, Shacole. My Instagram is at Tara S. Middleton, and at Periscope at Tara Shacole as well.
So, what you were talking about your book and about your inspirations and what people go through things and find out, really sounds like they really find out what they're made of and how they can now really focus their life maybe in a different way, and become stronger through certain challenges. And we have a few minutes left in the show, and you shared so many wonderful points, but is there anything more that you want to share as far as going forward, your approach to life and to what you feel that your mission is now?
And my purpose really, through the different avenues of the books, the blog, some of the shows that we have coming out, some of the other things that we're launching, really comes to helping others discover their purpose and maximizing their potential. That's my purpose. And the different avenues through Rare Rubies and through the counseling, through the coaching, through my writing, or through me speaking, it's just one of the ways, to accomplish and, carry out my purpose. And also I'm a minister, and so first, before I do anything else, me preaching the word of God and carrying out the gospel is my first love, my first passion, my first purpose. So, and that is, the approach is having faith, and not being able, you may not know what tomorrow may hold, but using your faith and being persistent and having vision and really being motivated no matter what you go through, so that you can carry out your passion and your purpose, and really a heart of a servant. That's always my prayer, that I have a servant's heart. And
exactly,
using prayer, like in your prayer, having that time to really commune with God, so that you can be energized and you could have something to give others. I often say it's like a bank account. If you continually put money into a bank account, there's going to be something to withdraw from. If you keep withdrawing without ever putting into that bank account, you're going to get into the red. And so many times in life, that's what causes us to get to that point of wanting to quit or to give up. Because we have to, you can pour out to everyone, but you have to make sure that and be still focused and knowing that you have to be able to receive, so that you can have something to pour out from. And so really that's what I want people to get, is that you don't have to quit. Never give up, because you don't know what may be around the corner tomorrow. Wake up tomorrow and see your dreams manifest right before your eyes. But what happens if you quit today?
That's so true. And a lot of times people will quit and get tired, and then it could have been right there and they wouldn't have known, because they're so sure that, well, I've tried everything and I'm going through this and that and nothing's going to come. And it can be easy to defeat yourself, because then you kind of give up, because sometimes you have wrong people whispering in your ear, or around you the world tells you what you should and shouldn't do, and you're wrong for this or wrong for that, or you don't get the encouragement that you need, and then you have this powerful dream, but then you feel somehow that you don't deserve it or shouldn't continue, and you just never know what is waiting for you, as you said, what is there, how it's going to come together, if you just kind of take that one more step, or keep that in your mind and in your heart.
Yeah, and that's really, one thing, the heart of my purpose is to make sure that I'm being used as a vessel to make sure that I'm an encouraging voice in this society and what we have right now. Because what you said, because we lack so much encouragement, and from people. It's always what someone's not doing, what you're not doing right. At first, it caused me not to even want to share my story, because I was like, why would I want to share why would I share my story? Who would want to hear what I'm going through? What am I going through so significant? And I tell people, don't be afraid to share your story, because you don't know who you may help sharing your story. You don't know, and even you are strengthened when you share your story. It's not about sharing the sad story with everyone. It's about sharing your testimony of what I've been through, what I have accomplished, what I'm going through, what God brought me through, even in the midst where it looked dark, or it looked like I was facing death, or the adversity that I was facing. I didn't think that I was going to overcome it, but I made it through. Even if I haven't arrived to where I want to today, you made it through. You woke up today. You have another day to fight. Another day to keep going, and you are strengthened when you tell your testimony that we overcome, by our testimony, by the words of our testimony. Because even when you share your story with someone else, it's strengthening you.
Yes.
But we're taught in society, oh well, you're just wrong for this. You're doing that. Well, how are you telling us that? How to encourage these people? They need encouragement. And you may be the only person that may be able to encourage that person today. And so don't be afraid, there's so many people trying to tear each other down. We have this crab in the bucket mentality instead of having a mindset of, I want to help. And if you really want to help other people, then you also, because it's going to also come down to you accepting you for who you are. And if I accept me and love me, for me, regardless of what anybody else says, then I'll be able to help the other people, because at a point, because I went through that myself, after helping other people and always having to keep myself in a place of checking to make sure emotionally I am good. Emotionally that I'm don't forget to take care of yourself in the process, basically. So that you can be encouraging to, everyone else. I'm going on and on.
But that is just perfect, and really says a lot to those people who may not be sure and may be doubting themselves and doubting what they feel called to do. As people usually will end up doubting it and not listening to that voice, and then they're frustrated and they're angry, and then they sometimes become very negative towards other people because now they have all these things that they wanted to do and didn't do.
Know that whatever your dream is, whatever that purpose is, if you have this dream and that you are working and doing something that you don't really want to do every day, and you're waking up not feeling fulfilled, it's probably because you're not fulfilling what you were created to do. And it causes frustration on the inside of you when you are doing what you're created to do. Because your very being, you were created to do that thing. And if you're doing something else that you weren't created to do, so that means you're just going through the motions, and it's going to take more motivation to do something that you don't want to do.
Yes.
You weren't created to do, because now you're having to pull in, all of this stuff to try to even just to get out the bed to go through this job that you don't want to do. So don't be afraid to step out in faith, because don't wait, because sometimes we'll wait and say, well, I'm going to wait for direction. I'm going to wait until I get this or get that happens, and I know clearly how to do it before I start to do it. You may not get the next step until you take the first step.
Yes, that's true.
It's stepping out to take that first step. And once you take that first step, then God will reveal to you the next step will be given to you. Because sometimes we have to be walked through this by faith. And if you had the whole thing figured out, would you really take the journey that you were taking? If you already knew every step.
Right. That's a good point.
We're called to, we're supposed to use our faith to live. But how do you use your faith if you aren't taking the first step to step out? It may be uncomfortable. You might be fearful. You may doubt. But do you want to live the rest of your life thinking, I should have done this. I should have started this business. I should have applied for this new promotion. I should have started, whatever dream it may be. I should have started my singing career. I should have started writing the book. If you haven't written the first page, or start a blog, or to start your own company, or to even some of the gifts that people have, like they may be the best cooking, people to cook, or the best bakers at home, but be afraid to step out use that gift to produce your income. And once you follow your passion, the income and the provision will follow. Wherever there's a vision, there's going to be provision. But you have to, and it's like blind faith, which is faith. You're stepping out. I don't know what's going to take place, but I know that this is going to be required from me. I need to take that first step so I can get direction. My pastor always says, he said, God can't move a parked car. So it's easy if you turn down the wrong road, that you can take, your GPS will lead you another direction if you take the wrong turn. But if you never leave the parking lot, the GPS can't direct you to where you're going. You don't get that next turn until you take the first.
Right.
So
that's true.
Be encouraged and just know that there's nothing impossible. There's no dream that you have that cannot come to pass. That everything that you need to make this dream to come to fruition, know that it's not you. You just have to follow the steps that you're given. And like you said, to listen to that inner voice to give you the, I can do this. Do this. And sometimes it's being sensitive to that, to following what that voice is giving you to do. Because if you don't take that first step, you're going to be sitting in the same position and saying, I want to do this. I want to do that. I have this dream of doing this. I want to start a bakery. I want to start an organization to help women or help children. I want to become a teacher. It's never too late to do whatever it is that you want to do. Just don't that you're too old, you're too young. There's no age limit on fulfilling your dreams. You know, so.
Wow. That is perfect. That's perfect. I think that everything you've said has been wonderfully motivating, and I can certainly see how you're turning everything that you have now into building a powerful organization. It's very obvious that you have a lot to give. So, Tara, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a really, really terrific conversation. Thank you so much.
And thank you for having me, Deb. I really appreciate the opportunity.
So, everyone, once again, it's been Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your host, Deborah Bailey. I thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us. You can also join in the conversation on Facebook.com/Women Entrepreneurs and on the website, WomenEntrepreneursSecrets.com. And don't forget to listen in on dbcoach.podomatic.com and on iTunes.